everybody. Welcome back to the Josie Show. Today we have Allie here, who is also a streamer and content creator. I'm going to be interviewing her, talking about her journey, some of her experiences, and yeah, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so I love asking first whenever I'm interviewing people or other content creators. I love just hearing their journey, like as a whole. So like, how have you gotten into gaming? What kind of content do you do? Just like tell us a little bit about all that in your journey.
Sure. Well, I first started gaming when I was, I don't know how young I was, but I got a Game Boy Advanced for Christmas one year. So whenever that came out, how many years ago, that was my first gaming experience ever. And I had a Dora the Explorer game, and it was so fun.
How old were you?
I think, I want to say I was like 9, 10.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember my age, but it was young. And from there, I advanced to like the DS, and then I eventually got a Wii and, progressed casually. I wasn't like an advanced gamer or anything like that. Like I said, I played a Dora the Explorer game.
That's pretty intense. I don't know.
I mean, I was swinging from vine to vine. So
I did a Donkey Kong when I had my first. I had a Nintendo as well. I did like Nintendo Dogs and Donkey Kong, and I remember being obsessed with a Donkey Kong game where we were swinging from vines, and you'd be on it, and then my parents I'd hide under the sheets, and be like playing it and like the game.
Quickly like shove it under your pillow when they come in so they don't see the light.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So yeah, that's how I got started with gaming. From there, I played Skyrim for the first time ever with my boyfriend in high school. And it quickly became like my all-time favorite game ever. Whenever I went over, I was like, we're playing Skyrim. I need to play this game. And I eventually, got my own consoles, got my own Switch, got, all that jazz, and just gamed on my own whenever I wanted because I was an adult and I could,
Right. What kind of game, because I know that we have some people in the audience who aren't huge gamers. How would you describe Skyrim for somebody who didn't know much about it?
Sure. Skyrim is this big open world fantasy adventure game, kind of like a role-playing game where you go around completing quests for people in different towns. You can get armor and weapons, and the main story is that you're fighting dragons. But that's like such a small portion of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun,
It's more story, like a story-based game, right? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's some story. I would say it's more exploratory and fighting than story, but there is small stories.
Okay, so it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Have you played any other games, like any FPSs or like first-person shooters, or strictly just story ones? Or was Skyrim kind of like your main focus, and have you dabbled into other ones?
Well, that was okay. So this has been a fun adventure for me. Streaming,
yes,
has started. The first game I ever played on stream, and the only game that I ever played on stream for probably a good 2 months was Valorant. I was a Valorant streamer. I started streaming playing that FPS, but I quickly went back to Skyrim after in my streaming career. And then I also play a lot of horror games. So I used to watch Markiplier, who is a big YouTuber, who played horror games on his YouTube channel, and I loved watching him, and I was like, I want to play them. So I, also like to scare myself shitless. Can I curse? Poopless.
Those horror games are no joke. Like, they're so terrifying. One of my friends has a VR headset, and he said, if you try to play one of those horror games, he was in his parents' house using it, and he screamed, and his mom was like, oh my gosh, like, you woke us up. It can't be that bad. And the dad came in, he's like, oh, it can't be that scary. He tried it and was like shitting himself. He was so scared.
I could never, ever, ever do a horror game in VR. I would cry and hide in a corner for the rest of my life.
Yep. Yeah, I don't have the mechanical skills as well because I got really late into gaming, like M&K or controller way later. I did the Wii, I did a lot of the Nintendo stuff like you said. I had a few like computer games when I was a kid, and then when I got older in middle school, high school, I never touched any of that. I think once I played at my friend's house, her brothers had Halo, and I only played once. That's the only memory that I have of playing a game like that. And so I went to college and I played a horror game with one of someone in our dorm. And I, like, because I didn't have the skills or on the controller as well, it's like 20 times scarier because you want to move and it's almost like a bad dream where you're trying to run away from something and like you're running so slow. That's how I felt with the controller. And I was like, I'm so scared. I like threw it. I was like, I can't do it anymore. I was like, I'd rather just watch because like I didn't know what to do and they come out of nowhere and it gets harder. Which horror games are some of your favorites?
My all-time favorite horror game is At Dead of Night, and I'm so sad that I'm never able to play that game for the first time ever again because it is just
yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
There are very few games that I feel that way about, but that one specifically is just so good. It has great story, and there's like also a lot of like jump scare and suspenseful moments. I love that game.
Yeah. That's good. I love playing horror games as well around Halloween, like around that time. That's always really fun.
Oh yeah, gotta set the mood, you know.
Exactly. With Skyrim, is that controller or M&K?
It was originally a controller game. They do have a PC version now where you can use mouse and keyboard. I don't know which I prefer. There are moments where I prefer mouse and keyboard. I like the accuracy of the mouse. I don't like how the keyboard mechanics are set up. You can obviously change it, but I'm too lazy to do that.
Yeah, it took me forever to finally change it. But once you do, you feel comfortable. And then if you ever try to play on somebody else's, you're like, I don't even, I can't. Like, I gotta change all this.
My issue, when I change whatever my key bindings are, I will still, like, even though I'm in the normal, like, setting, I'm pressing the wrong button. As soon as I switch it to what I want it to be, I'm going to go back to the original because I'm like, oh, in my mind, it's supposed to be this. So even though I changed it, I still have the same issue. I don't know.
No, I understand that.
Ugh, it's annoying.
So how did you get into Valorant? And that was the first game that you ever streamed, and then we'll get into your streaming as well. But was it your boyfriend or was it friends or like people? Yeah, how was that?
Well, I got my first PC in like March of 2020, and
That's
Valorant was like, yeah, there we go,
this
perfect
spaceship.
During
the pandemic.
Yeah. It was like just coming out around that time. I think it was like April that it became like public to everyone. And that's when my boyfriend had early access, and so did some of his friends. And they're like, "Yeah, you should come like play with us since we can't really see each other, and we'll play games that way." So I just got started because like loneliness, and I had a PC and friends who were playing.
My story is very similar.
Yep. And I now march my way down hell because that game makes me want to murder myself sometimes.
Yeah. Do you still play it on stream?
Oh, not on stream. I play it off stream pretty frequently. I don't know why, because I hate it. I love it, but I hate it.
You have a love-hate relationship. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. That's me with my FPS games as well.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So with Valorant, have you noticed from when it first came out to now, have you noticed any changes to the game or in like the community, or is it very similar?
Community-wise, I can't say I've noticed anything different. But they've made a lot of changes to the game. I mean, they're constantly adding new maps and new characters and adjusting characters they already have to make them more balanced, and same thing with maps to make them better for the community. I'm really glad with how Valorant takes feedback.
I think a lot of people say that too.
Yeah.
Not many people are upset with them.
Right. So I enjoyed that aspect of it. I would say the core of the game, the core of the fan base is probably the same because, I don't know. it hasn't changed for me at least.
Yeah. The reason I ask is because I've been playing Apex. That's been my game. That's what I started streaming. I've tried a couple others. I haven't tried Valorant. Everyone's been trying to get me to, and I think I'm going to. COD
Yes.
and Valorant are the two that everybody's like. I prefer. I've played a couple. I think Dark Souls. Like I've played some adventure story games before. I don't know why. I just love like shooting and the competitive side of it. I can totally see why people want to have the other side where it's more relaxed, it's more chill, it's like entertaining. Right. But for me, when I'm on, like I am on, I'm trying to like kill everybody and get better with my teammates. I'm very competitive and it brings it out. And I feel like with Apex, have you played Apex before?
I have. I'm terrible at it.
It's tough. So that was my first video game ever. Like,
oh my gosh.
I hate myself. I clearly hate myself. Well, actually,
you're just a masochist. It's fine.
Okay, well, actually, so my first video game, that was my first video game that was like mine, downloaded on my computer that could hold it. I played PUBG. I got into it because we had my boyfriend and all of his college friends were all in a room at the time. They had an extra room in their house. And so they all were gamers. They're like, let's put our PCs in here. So it was like a huge gaming room. And half of our friends weren't gamers. And whenever they'd come over, the guys would be like socially, anti-socially, just like all like zoned in playing with each other. And oh my gosh, that was such a tough year because half of the people were so irritated. But like my friend and his girlfriend at the time, we made do and we hung out. And then one time we were just like a little annoyed with it. We're like, okay, we'll try. And my boyfriend did a really great job because he described PUBG as like the Hunger Games, which is something that I could relate to. I'd read the books and like seen some of the movies. But for someone who's new to the gaming world, you have to ease them in the right way. Otherwise it can be a little intense. And so we'd watch them and then slowly get involved. So we would say, okay, we want to pick where you land. And then as time went on, then we would get more comfortable like watching them. And then we said, okay, get off. And so her and I would get on and play. It was a shit show, but it was so funny. We were like screaming. And I remember one time when I landed, I don't know what got into me, but my boyfriend, like I picked up a pistol and I double shot somebody right in the head. And he was like, I was like, what did I do? What did I do? I'm like sweating. My heart's like pounding. And I've never done anything like that. That was totally beginner's luck. But it was,
that's amazing.
I wish I had a clip of it. And he was like, what did she just do? I was like, I'm alive. I don't know. But so yeah, with Apex, and that the like Hunger Games style and like that kind of shooter game, Apex was similar, but it was a lot faster and it was more fun, like with the characters and the more cartoony feel of it, which I loved. I tried to play PUBG again and it was too slow. It felt like a horror game for me. My heart rate was pounding because you'll get sniped in the head after like 20 minutes and it just comes out of nowhere because there's so many really good pros and they've been playing for a while. So I loved Apex. Apex was my game, but I noticed that, so whenever people complain about Apex, they have a huge sound issue. They don't really listen at all. But I've heard that Valorant, not many people say negative things about it. And I've noticed that the community for Apex, it's turned a lot into the COD players. I think some of them have come over, but the last few times that I played, oh my gosh, like I don't know if I was just really lucky when Apex first came out. Everybody was super kind for the most part. I always would talk to people and I was newer, so I would just say, sorry guys, like I'm newer to the game. And people would work with me, maybe because I was a girl. Right. I don't know. I'm sure that, but now when I would go on, some of the most like misogynistic, like hateful things have been said. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know what happened to this community because it was so wholesome. So I wasn't sure if Valorant or any of those games had something, but I haven't heard anything about it. So
I mean, Valorant has its
every game has
a group of misogynistic men, but
yeah.
I mean, I've been very fortunate that I almost always have a 5 stack, or if I don't have a 5 stack, I'm at least playing with 1 or 2 other people who, if that is happening, they're like there to stand up for me or help me out or to laugh at it with me because most of the time it's just stupid.
It is. It's so ridiculous. You're like, oh my gosh.
I'm not offended. I just think you're dumb. This does not affect me.
Yeah, exactly. So with streaming, how did you get into streaming and how long have you been streaming?
Well, streaming has been something that I've thought about since I was in college because I went to college for musical theater. So I was doing a lot of acting and performing and stuff. while also being a gamer. So Twitch was always in the back of my mind. Like, this would be a really cool thing that I could do where I could still utilize my performing skills while also doing something I really enjoy. Excuse me, I had to burp. Cut that out, please. And then in 2020, of course, when COVID hit, I got my first PC, and I was just messing around for a few months, just trying to like figure out what I wanted to do. Because at that point, I was kind of moving away from acting and was looking more into not biblical studies. That's my degree. Looking more into library science.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
yeah, because I worked at the library at my college that I went to, and I loved it. So my
Wow.
goal at that time, my goals change a lot. My
Yeah.
goal at that time was that I wanted to be a music librarian, where I would get my master's in librarianship with a focus in archival work, and then I would become a music librarian where I would handle sheet music and performances and like all that kind of stuff. Clearly, that has not happened.
They say there's a saying where it's like if you tell God your plans, he laughs at you. Something like that. Yeah, that's always. I never thought that I would be doing what I was as well. I feel like you're
Right.
crazy.
So, needless to say, COVID happened. All of those plans went out the door, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Well, what am I gonna do now?" So, I was August, or end of July, I believe. I can't remember. I should know this. Anyway,
Yeah.
it was like
I honestly
end of
don't
July.
know myself like when I did
Yeah.
either. It was
I'd have
sometime
to,
in the
like, go
summer.
back and look it up. But yeah,
Yeah.
sometime in the summer, end of July, beginning of August, where
Yeah.
I was just like, "You know what?" It was such an impulsive decision too. Like, even though I had, like, thought about this in, like, college and stuff like that, I didn't, like, plan ahead. I literally just one day was like, "Alright, I'm gonna set it up," spent 3 hours setting up my stream, and went live that night.
I feel like
Alright.
that's the best way to do it because so many people that I talk to will ask me for advice on like content creation or like starting a
Right.
YouTube channel or streaming. And the hardest part is just starting. Like literally
Yes.
just pressing that live button and starting. Because then you can always tweak and then you can work on it. But
Right.
there's so much like analysis paralysis that can come where you're like, oh, I need to look up all this stuff and learn it. It's like, no, just get in there, start, and
Oh,
then at least you
right.
started. That's the hardest part. So I love
Yeah.
that.
I'm just a very impulsive
I am
decision
too.
maker.
I am too. Because if I don't do it right then, I feel like I won't ever do it. And so it's like, okay, I got to ride this motivation. I got to ride this wave. And if you don't like it, okay, at least you tried. And if
Right.
you love
Well,
it, then great.
I also have the problem where once I make the decision, I go all in. There is no
Yeah.
half-assing it with me, okay?
Yeah.
Once I make that decision, we are full sending.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
made
did
it
the
my
same
life.
thing. I did the same thing. And I have to like see it through, like, yep. And I
Yep.
don't, maybe it's a competitive or something side, but I'm the same way. I'm like, okay, we're in it. Let's do it right.
Yep. Yeah, so yeah, that's how I got started. And here we are.
Yeah. Did you have any help at all from people, and how was the growth of your stream the first bit?
Um, it was very interesting. I feel like because of COVID, I kind of had a bit of I don't want to say an advantage
Yeah,
because like I don't know. But
that's
because
fair.
people
I know
were
what you
home with
mean.
not a lot to do, there was
Right.
more people on Twitch, both streaming and watching.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
because the competition was higher. So even though you did have
yeah.
more people, I'm pretty sure that I saw a graph that showed when people started to get into streaming, and it was like shot up. So I
I
think the
believe it.
people who maybe had a community before COVID, and then they built that, and then when people came in, yes, there was
Mhm.
competition, but they already established themselves. I feel like they had
Right.
the most advantage, to
Oh
be
yeah. Oh
honest.
yeah. Absolutely. But I was very fortunate that my first stream ever, I had two people come in and stay with me the entire time.
Oh, that's
And
good.
they would continue to come every stream from
Oh, I love that.
the first couple of weeks. One of them still stops by every once in a while after 2.5 years, which is really, really cool. Like,
Oh, I love
I see him
that.
pop in and I'm like, you were my first viewer ever.
Yep.
Hi.
Does he have the badge? Don't they have the like sub? Oh, this
He
that's for
didn't
subs.
sub.
Wait.
Yeah, yeah,
No.
yeah. So he wasn't a first subscriber, which is fine. Like,
Yeah.
they don't need to subscribe, but
No. Well, and you have to
um
be affiliate anyways, right? To even get
yeah,
subs. So
right. Right. So I was very fortunate to have two viewers pretty much right off the bat. And then I had a few like IRL friends who would stop by. And honestly, I don't really know how I grew at the beginning because like
Yeah.
I wasn't used to utilizing social media at the time or anything like
Yeah.
that. So I literally just like I said, hit start stream
Yeah,
and
and went for
figured
it.
it out as I went.
That's the best way, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
like, and
Oh,
anybody else
absolutely.
who's watching or curious, the hardest part is just starting.
And you find what works for you too. So like
Yes.
what people say works for them isn't always going to work for you. So like I
No.
feel like just starting and figuring it out as you go is the best way to learn what works for you personally.
Yeah.
Um so that was how I started like the beginning of my streaming career. Once I got into TikTok, this was when the TikTok algorithm was really nice
Yeah.
because if you went live for any amount of time,
Yeah.
it pushed all of your content out. So
Yeah.
I would go live for like an hour and I would amass a large amount of followers just because of how they used to push the content out.
Yep.
I miss that old algorithm
I
because
do
it's
too.
so hard to get anything now.
Well, again, competition on TikTok, everybody, like the grannies are now coming on there. You see it,
Yeah.
you're like, you guys go, but you're like, wow, this, remember when it had just come out and not many
Yeah.
people were, and now, yeah, definitely a huge shift. It eventually is going to get to Facebook level, and then there's going to be a new platform. I don't know how long it's going to be, probably at least a couple more years. It's got some legs,
We'll
but
see.
yeah, the competition's insane. And then businesses are coming out, like everyone's trying stuff, which is great, but oh man, the competition, and people are pumping
Fierce.
out 3-4 videos a day, and then trying to get
Right.
that on the algorithm. So I saw something too about so I'm in digital marketing, so I always pay attention and try to keep up. Nobody ever, if anybody tells you that they know the algorithm, like there's maybe a couple of things that you can notice or that do well, like you were
Sure.
saying with the live, that makes sense. But if somebody claims that they know it, like they know all the secrets, they're lying to you. A lot of times
Mhm.
it's a no. There was something that came out recently for TikTok, and it's called heating, like heating accounts or heating videos. And so it's
Okay.
people that work at TikTok, they have a very loose agenda of what they can make viral. So because TikTok has some manual side, it's not just algorithm based. So
Right.
there's some things where if they want to push content that's different or unique or that they like that's not getting the traction that they think it deserves, but people will use that and boost their friends, their own accounts, and it's very like it's not clear direction. It's kind of up to their discretion.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like gray area with it, which I thought that was really interesting when I saw that. I was like, oh
That is
wow.
interesting. That makes me angry. I'm part of some creator programs where they tell us to use a hashtag, and you would think
No,
if I'm using the hashtag, they
no.
would post it, but no.
Yeah.
It's annoying. It's
Yeah.
fine.
So
Ugh.
was TikTok the main TikTok? And then did you ever do like YouTube and are you partnered by chance or no?
No,
Okay.
no.
I
I
didn't
wish.
even make it close either. It's so hard.
Yeah.
Did you have you been trying to do YouTube and Twitter or any other platforms or mainly TikTok?
So I have an Instagram, a Twitter, I have a YouTube, obviously TikTok and Twitch, and I mostly post on TikTok. Um, I have tried to utilize. I hate Instagram. I hate
Yeah.
it. It's just not a usable platform in my opinion. But you can gain followers and stuff from there. So I try to utilize that just by reposting TikToks and stuff like that. I try to post pictures, but I'm not good at taking pictures. And whenever I take a picture, it's always like the same pose and same position because like I
Yeah.
know I look good in that position. I'm
Yeah.
like I can't post the same thing. Ugh, so I don't post as much as I should with pictures. Twitter, I just kind of shit post about random stuff. I post about my stream, but recently I've just been posting about ice skating.
Oh, do you ice skate?
I just started a month ago. I'm learning to become a figure skater. See, this is another impulsive
Oh my
decision.
gosh. I
I
had a phase of that when I was in 5th grade.
I love
And
that.
now when I go ice skating, everybody's like, "Wow, you're so good." I'm like, "Thanks, step aside."
Woohoo, look at me. Yeah,
I could never do like a proper spin the right way, but I could skate backwards. I could do like a
there
lunge. I
you
could like
go.
skate around really nicely, and
So
I
you
just
look
like
cooler than everyone
I look
else.
cool, yeah. But
Mhm.
I totally did that. I'm telling you, the impulse thing, like
Yeah.
that's so cool.
I
How's that going?
Good. Like I said, it's been for a month. I watched Yuri on Ice. This is the lamest way to get into figure skating. Yuri on Ice is a figure skating anime that I am addicted to. And I said,
Yeah.
I want to be like that anime. So I bought a pair of cheap skates and I went to the
Yeah.
local rink and I started taking some lessons. I'm working on raising, or I can't say raising, working on saving money to buy actual figure skates because the ones I have are not good.
Did you get used ones or?
No, they're just like a stock boot, so they're super flimsy and like
Got you.
you can't really do edges without like kind of like boop.
Yeah, I got a pair of like very slightly used ones, and that was a lot cheaper because I begged my mom and she was like, well, we have a budget and you can't go over it. And so I had to like figure it out myself, and it was on sale. It really wasn't too bad because I knew that they were really expensive. I think it was like $35 at the time. But also that's before inflation and like
if you are looking to get a beginner pair of ice skates, like actual like figure skates now, they're easily $200. Easily.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
So, like,
yeah, that's
the
why
pair
I like
that I need.
That's why I always say the slightly used, but I know that can be a little bit gross for some people. But like there's spray, you can clean it, and some people will get them and then like use them once or twice and then be like, this is not for me, or they'll forget about them, especially if you're in like a nicer area where people can have more money to expend like that. So that would be my recommendation if anybody's looking.
That's what I
stop by that.
eBay has a lot. I found a pair. The problem with doing that is like finding your size.
Oh yeah, and trying.
They're very finicky. Yeah. So
very
like
true.
I found a pair that I thought was gonna be my size for like $40. But I had to return them because my feet were too wide.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And yeah, if it doesn't fit like the right amount and you're in them so long, it's very like I feel like it'll really hurt your joints and your ankles. Like,
yeah, it's dangerous.
It's like what's the movie? There was a Disney movie about like ice skating.
Yes, wait,
what was it called?
I don't know, but she like used to be a hockey player and then becomes a figure skater. I know that movie. What is that?
I can't remember. Oh well, I guess that's for another time. Okay, so we need to take a quick break right now, and when we come back, I want to dive a little bit more into the social side and more about your Twitch experience. So we will be right back. All right, and we are back. So we're talking about ice skating. I know we're getting a little bit off topic, but I want to go back and dive more into your Twitch experience. So you said that when you first started, you had a couple of friends or you had some people that did they just find you off of the recommended list, or were they just scrolling for like newer streamers? How do you think, was it like a good time, or was it just pure luck?
I think from what I remember is that they were just looking at people with low viewers or no viewers, and they popped in. Because the two people that joined were like friends who were just like going around together. So
interesting.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that's how they found me. I don't remember though. I think that's what happened. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, that's so good. I feel like that gave you like a good boost. Did you? Well, so you were thinking about going or doing like acting and theater, so you probably weren't as nervous. But did you ever get nervous when you pressed the live button, or were you like okay?
I wouldn't get I wouldn't get nervous for normal streams. I would get nervous for events that I was putting on. So like over the course of my streaming career, I would do like I did a Hot Ones challenge. That I was really nervous for because I advertised a lot for it. I got a green screen for it. You know, I really prepared for it. Hot Ones, yeah. So basically, like there's 10 different hot sauces and 10 different questions. And for each question, you get hotter and hotter. And
they have a lot of those. There's a TV show about that, right? And like DJ Khaled was on it, and I think Gordon Ramsay maybe, or like a couple of those people. Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you like spicy food?
No, I hate it.
So I'm sure that was also like, oh gosh.
Yes. Yeah. I drank a lot of milk and cried tears.
But I'm sure people found that entertaining.
Right. Absolutely. So, but yes, events like that where I put a lot of like behind the scenes work into that I feel like it has a lot riding on it, that's when I get nervous. And it's not because I'm nervous about like I'm more nervous about things going correctly in the way that I planned them than I am like what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a fool of myself regardless of what I'm doing. I am not worried about that at all.
Yeah. If you are, streaming probably isn't for you as well. You have to just brush it off and be like, well, oh well, comes with the go.
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, for example, like Monday. So for my stream, I play Spotify music, and to get around copyright, I don't have my music in my VOD. So if you go back and watch my VODs, you won't hear the music. But if I ever sing along or dance along,
you look crazy.
So on Monday, I was singing along to, surprise, surprise, the Yuri on Ice opening, and I picked up my skates and I was pretending to like dance around screaming the Yuri on Ice soundtrack, and you go back and watch the VOD and it's just me screaming my head off dancing around my room like a maniac to silence.
So funny. Oh, that's so funny. I feel like that's good content though.
I mean, I like to think so. I had a good time. I don't know if the people watching did, but I had a good time.
That's all that matters. If you're having a good time, most likely people are too.
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, so I don't get nervous very, very often.
That's good. When I first started streaming, I was so nervous. I don't know why. I think it was just because of the unknown, and it was so out of my comfort zone. And it was the first time that I'd put myself like out to the internet live like that, you know, where there's not much control over it. And I wasn't like, I didn't grow up with a bunch of this stuff. You know, I just gotten into gaming. I had no idea what this world was or like the people. And so I was really nervous, but it's funny because I was the most nervous for my first couple streams, and then I was fine. Like I was okay. And with my experience, I almost was completely turned off to streaming because I had a guy come in, and I do digital marketing. I've spent a lot of time. I was working on my Instagram at the time, like really trying to get a good following so then I could learn and practice things for my clients. I'd spent some money to test a few things out, and I had spent a lot of like energy on it. Not that I care about followers or any of that stuff, but it was good to be able to help other people and to be able to say like, hey, here's mine. Look at what is possible, you know? And so one of the guys came in, and it was kind of somebody who like not super weird vibes, but just like maybe it was because I was new and I didn't know what to expect, but he was asking me for my Instagram and was like pretty insistent on it. And I gave it to him. And then the next day I was kicked out of my Instagram, like banned, blocked.
Oh my gosh.
And my heart sank, and I was like, this is so bizarre. Is this even possible? Like I have dual factor. Like what? Can somebody just do that just because I gave him my handle? Like then anybody could do it. And so I was really stressed about that. And I was like, well, I don't think I don't know if it's worth like risking that. And then I asked my boyfriend, who's really big, he was a streamer too. Okay. And I asked him, and I was like, is this a coincidence? This made me really uneasy. I don't know if it's worth it. And for him, he's always he's very skeptical and overly cautious with that. And he said, I feel like that was just a coincidence. It's very odd. But it was just like really odd timing. And I never had anything happen. This poor guy is probably just like, I literally just wanted her Instagram. I'm like, oh my God, you're trying to steal it. So I was way overthinking. But when you're new in that world, you just don't know.
It's scary.
And so that was, I almost stopped. And then I waited a bit, and I was so nervous, and I was going like really slow. I was really unsure. I was horrible at the game, but I just kept pushing. And then eventually people would come in. And I got a lot better about talking to them. When the people came in for you, the first two, did you immediately answer chat, or like how did you manage them and like ask them questions? How did you go about like making friends in there if somebody did pop in?
I think I talked to them. I don't know. I would assume I did. I can't say for sure.
You probably did. Otherwise, they. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't. Maybe they were just happy to be there.
I don't know. I genuinely don't remember what I did. I feel like it happened and I just immediately forgot. So
I'm sure that was
now
exciting.
I do. Now when people come in, I'm like, hey, how you doing? How's life? What's up?
I do too. Whenever I would whenever I'd have people on my chat, I would always prioritize them over the game just because I was more into that. Like, I'm not that good of a player, so even me trying to be like really sweaty and ignore people, it just like, no, it was about meeting people. And I've met some of the best, like some of my closest friends because of streaming, and they're random people that I didn't even know their real names. Like, you just know their gamer tags, and they're some of the coolest, like, it's insane. If you've never been in gaming or in like the Twitch community, I mean, there's definitely some negatives. It's not all positive, and you do have to be careful, stranger danger, you know. But I would say, like, you would be amazed if you even just like gave it a shot about the people that are there and how close you could possibly get. I'm sure you had a similar experience too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've had so many really cool opportunities come about because of streaming and because of the people I've met. So like, I have friends all over the world now that if I am like, hey, I'm going to come to the Netherlands, can I stay with you? They'll be like, yeah, sure, come stay with me.
Oh my God. Have you done anything like that? What are some of the opportunities?
So I met up with one of my moderators when I went to Tennessee 2 years ago. No, a year and a half ago. And we like hung out with him doing that. Next October, I'm actually getting a group of a group of my community members. And we're getting like a gamer house, we like to call it, but just a big house together to go to the When We Were Young festival.
Wow.
I was able to do several charity streams with a group of other streamers and content creators that I ended up, like, because we raised the most money, like, was able to work with brands that I wouldn't have been able to work with otherwise. And like,
oh my gosh. Okay, wait, I want to hear all about this. Tell me about the charities. Tell me about how that was, and then some of the brands, if you can.
Yeah. So I worked with, so this specific charity that I'm talking about was with March of Dimes, for their Prematurity Awareness Month, which was back in November. So me,
Weren't we talking about your charity stream?
Oh yeah, because I said I couldn't do something, but that was a different charity.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's how I remembered you, because I was like, I know that we met before, and you're talking, it was your charity stream. Yeah, for the Friday one.
I tend to do a lot. I wouldn't say a lot. I'd probably do more than the average streamer. But yeah, this one was back in November, and it was with a group of other streamers, so I wasn't doing it alone. It was like a whole team of us raising money. And if we had raised over $20,000 altogether, then like Logitech and Elgato and Noble Chairs and a couple other ones like gifted us things. So like these Nanoleaf lights I got because we raised that amount of money. And a few other things.
How many streamers were there?
A lot.
Was it chaotic, or was it like, would you do it again? Was it easy?
Oh yeah. It was easy because it was on our own stream. So like I didn't have to team up. Like I didn't have to do anything with them. We just had like a joint like
okay, so you guys did your own streams, and then whatever you raised as a whole. Okay, I thought you guys were all on one channel together. I was like, that would be chaotic. So chaotic, but cool. Oh no, that's amazing.
Yeah.
When did you do your first charity stream?
My first charity stream was back at the end of June, beginning of July.
Okay.
What charity was that one? Oh gosh. I've done like 4 different charities now, and that one,
it's amazing. I love doing a charity stream.
It's really cool. It's really fun.
So rewarding.
And it's like anonymous people will comment. Like my last one I did, which was in December, for A Hope for the Day, which is a charity that's dedicated towards helping raise mental health awareness and to prevent suicide. I had an anonymous person come in and give $500.
Wow.
I don't know who it was. They just, and I was blown away. I was like, I still don't have words. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. My first charity stream was because there was a guy who, he has a pug, and like I've grown up with pugs, and we have 2 pugs. It was actually one of my boyfriends, like he brought it to my attention and he needed to get surgery for his dog. He had like a liver issue. It was gonna be really, really expensive. And so we raised enough to be able to get him that surgery. And this was something that mattered to me because I love animals. I love dogs. And those were the dogs that I grew up with. I know how loving that they are. And so it meant a lot to me, but to see other people just come together and be able to help like that, it was so rewarding, especially because like if you are a full-time streamer or you make a good amount of your money, because you work so hard as a streamer, like you work so hard. And it is of course nice to get paid, but when it's coming in for somebody else, it's so rewarding. Like, and it's so incredible to see how powerful, like that you brought people together and everybody was willing to help support a cause or to give,
I did a fundraiser for one of my moderators back in March. She was immigrating to the US and just it's expensive. Immigrating is expensive.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to help you out in some way. I was like, you are always doing all this work for me for free because like moderators
I know
don't get paid.
And they're so great. Like, and they don't have to take their time to do that, and they choose to. And it's just like, that's also incredible.
So I was like, I want to do a fundraiser for you. And we ended up raising like $2,500 for her.
Wow. Which, that's a lot.
In one night. It was insane. I cried.
I'm sure that she did too. And also if your community knows, did they know her? Like they were familiar with her? Because I'm sure that everybody else was really willing to like donate and stuff too.
It was really beautiful. Oh my goodness.
The guy who we helped too, he like made a post about it and he was in tears and was like, you have no, like you saved my pet's life, or and with your person, like you helped her be able to do that and she might not have been able to. So and it's good to see the positives in humanity, and it's just like so reassuring. You're like, we are not everybody's so bad.
Right. I think it's cool. Like, even though we're small streamers, we're still able to make such a huge impact too.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't matter the size.
Oh my God, you said that beautifully and I didn't realize how much of an impact I was able to make. And some people would feel comfortable telling me things that they haven't told anybody in their life. And for you to be able to be trusted and be there for them, like that's even a big impact on a small person. And then with TikTok and I refer to TikTok because it's one of the easiest ways to get the max amount of exposure, and so you get to meet a lot of people. But there's some people who are like, I love your videos, like you make me smile every time that like you come up on my For You page, and like that's just like all these little things, and that's just what people are telling you. And then being able to help for a cause, for charity, and like all these things, it's you don't realize just how much you can do until you actually do it. And it is so rewarding. And I always have to take a step back and be like, gosh, I am so lucky. Like, I'm so lucky for what I have. I'm so lucky to have a community. Like, I count my blessings every day. You said it perfectly, how much of a big impact you can make for even being a small streamer. So with TikTok, because I know that some people were probably curious about how to grow. Did you just kind of jump into TikTok and start posting videos? Do you talk in your videos? Do you do like trends, a little bit of everything? How often were you posting?
Oh man, my TikTok journey has been all over the place.
Mine is too. That's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah. When I first started out, I would do more like trend-based videos where I would like replicate a trend but related to gaming.
Yeah.
But then as I started getting more and more, I don't think I was, I don't want to say I was more entertaining. I don't know. As I got more into gaming, I ended up editing in my Twitch clips rather than creating.
Oh, there you go.
Trends and stuff like that.
So I think that's great, because when you do the trends and everything, then people don't know exactly like how you are going to be streaming. And if you're trying to filter people into your stream, if you're already showing content from your stream and you're like, this is what you can expect, come follow me on Twitch, then it's a little bit like, I think that's the way to do it if you can. I was a horrible editor and I did a little bit of it, but I was like, this takes too long. I'm bad at this. I would do that.
I used to have a Twitch. I used to have a TikTok for every single day. And I did that for months. And then I got tired of it back in October.
I did it for a month. I posted 3 videos a day. I went all in. I did 3 videos a day for a month. And then I was like, I am done and I'm over it.
I no, I don't have enough funny moments or entertaining moments to do that.
Yeah,
At
I
least
didn't
not like
either.
short form.
I
When
didn't
it's
either, and
short
I still
form,
posted.
it's so hard,
Yeah,
but
it
so
is.
yeah, it's my yeah, TikTok's a fun time.
Yeah, and people are so mean on there too. Like, I don't know why
Yeah.
the keyboard warriors. Like,
Although
geez,
I
there's
feel like
people here.
YouTube Shorts has some really mean people.
Yeah, YouTube
I feel
and
like
even
oh,
Instagram. I've seen some of the Instagram stuff and I'm like, "Geez, like,
yeah.
give them a break." Like, and it's always the people who aren't showing themselves or putting themselves out there. It's like, "Wow, it's so easy for you." I'm always terrified that I'm gonna say something or do something and people take it the wrong way when that's not like you're trying to like make it safe, but then it gets on the wrong side. You're like, "No, that's not. I'm sorry." And
Yeah.
then you get like canceled. You're like this terrible person.
I know. No, I get that. Although in the comment section, it might be my toxic trait, but I love to fight with people.
I do too.
If
Oh, see, I like to be
oh,
inquisitive. I like to be inquisitive. I'm like somebody straight up was like, "I hate you," and I'm like, "Why is that? Like, let's dive into this. Like, let's have a therapy session." And then some people have been like, "Wait, I didn't think you would respond."
yeah, I thought the same
Wait,
thing. They would like
hello.
comment something mean. I'm like, okay, that's oh, you're welcome to that opinion. And then they
Yeah,
would reply back like, wait, you
what?
replied. I was like, yeah. And then they would follow me and be like, I'm
Yeah,
so sorry.
yeah.
Like, okay, don't do
Yeah,
it
I had a few people apologize who like were fighting with me, and I literally had some people apologize. They're like, "I'm sorry, I was just having a bad day. Like, you're a lot nicer than I
right.
expected. Like, I didn't think
Oh
you'd."
my
I'm like,
goodness.
Jesus, like, man, I wasn't even expecting it, but I'm like, okay, like, there's some stuff behind there, but
Oh
I
yeah.
like for me, if I ever posted on anybody's, anytime that I'm scrolling through social media, like maybe it's because well no even before I started putting myself out there like they're people and they see it and if you don't have anything nice to say just don't say it at all like and if you are if you don't agree with them or you're trying to like pick a fight I think when if you're calm or if you say something like hey like in my opinion like this is this or something it's so much better than just like some harsh like it's just
Mhm.
yeah I don't know
The internet's not a place to argue with people because one, you can't
no
hear the other person, so you can't hear their intonation. You don't know
yeah
like how they're
so
actually
true
coming across. So like if you're reading
sarcasm
something,
sometimes
mhm, yeah, and so if you're reading something and it's like something that could be against what you believe, you're gonna read it automatically in a nasty tone because they don't
right
agree with you, so you feel like they're attacking you. When that
right
might not be the case. So
yeah
I avoid that type of fight on the internet. It's
Yeah,
only when it's about me that I fight back.
yeah, and you can have some fun with it, you know? At least if you're gonna go through it, like, might as well make it fun.
Right, right, right.
What do you edit your own clips and do you have somebody that clips? So my biggest thing too was that I would never clip midstream. Like if
Mhm.
something was funny, I like didn't because I'd be in a game and I'd be too busy and then I'd try to tell people to clip it, but then I like it wasn't that good. And so that was my thing too. It was hard to get clips. How did you manage that?
So, I do a few things. I have a thing on my Stream Deck here that if I push a button, it makes
Yeah.
a marker. So if something like really funny happens or something that I want to come back to, I can go back to my VOD and see that marking. I also will look at what other people have clipped for me and see if that's like worth turning into a TikTok. And then I will also just spend hours of my life scrolling or like clicking through my VOD and
Yeah.
rewatching it because I like to suffer and spend hours and hours and hours rewatching myself.
Yeah. Are you a full-time streamer as well?
No,
Or
no,
okay,
no,
I
no.
wasn't sure. Yeah, I was like, yeah.
Nope, that's why I don't edit very often anymore.
Mm,
I do edit my own clips because editors are expensive, which they
yeah.
should be. It's hard
Yeah,
work.
it is,
Um,
it is. And also though, sometimes it's like you have a vision and it's not that they're a bad
mhm,
editor, but sometimes it's not what you want. And like
right.
I've had a couple videos made for me, they were great, but it just wasn't like what I wanted. And so I would take it
Yeah.
and then be like, okay, this is what I wanted, and then I'd fix it. It like gave me that inspiration. But
Mhm.
so what do you use when you do edit or when you have edited?
I do Adobe Premiere
Oh,
just
yeah, that's what
because
I used to.
I feel like it's the most
It's the
straightforward.
easiest. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, so it takes me usually about a half an hour to an hour, depending on how picky I am, to do
Yeah.
one 30-second clip, if that. Like, it's a oh my gosh, I hate editing.
Yeah.
I hate it.
I like the bringing. your creativity, like what's in your head, onto the
Mhm.
screen, or like bringing it to
Yeah,
life.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
I hate like the process of it. And then if you don't know how to do something, but you're trying to, and then like, that's what I don't like. But I love
I
being
agree.
able to bring to life what you're thinking, or like how to do it. So
Absolutely. I agree. Yeah. Yeah. I like when my vision comes to life. Yeah, it's like you said, it's the process. I
yeah.
don't like the
It's not about it's about the journey, not the destination. But I'm like, no, it's about the
That's
destination.
about the destination. Yeah. When
Let's
it
get
comes
there.
to
Let's make it
editing,
through.
it's the destination.
It is really cool though when you work super hard on something and you're like blood, sweat, and tears through it, and then at the end of it, you're like, like this was horrible and I hated it, but I did that and I'm proud of myself. Like
Yeah.
that is a good feeling.
But then there's also the bad feeling of like, wow, I made this really awesome clip, and then it just flops.
Yes, yeah, or you think it's really funny and then nobody else.
Yeah. Man, I
You're
had
like, this is horrible. And you're like,
the funniest TikTok. I made the funniest TikTok the other day. Oh my gosh, I rewatch it. I laugh every single
I
time.
have a couple of those too, and like not no one else did. And I'm like, well, you know what?
Yeah.
I found it funny. Somebody has.
Oh,
I'll
yep.
take it.
I think maybe 300 people watched it. It's like one of my lower ones too. And I'm like, guys, this is pure comedy gold.
Right?
You are missing out.
You just don't get me.
Exactly. Oh man.
Okay, well, do you have any like closing statements or anything that you would want to tell people, or anything that we didn't
Um,
cover?
about streaming specifically,
Yeah, streaming, your journey, life, anything.
do what you want. Don't let other people push you back or stop you. And you're never too old to do things.
Yes,
I don't care how old you are not too old. If
I
I
love
could
it.
start figure skating at 27, almost 27, 26 years old, you
You
can
can
start.
too.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, just do whatever makes you happy. Don't get too uptight about things, and just, live your life. Have fun.
I love it. That was beautiful. I think that was great advice. Snaps to you, Allie. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this segment, or this
Yeah.
episode. And it was so great to hear about your journey and learn more about you. And everybody, Titan TV, please drop a link for her. Please go follow her TikTok, all of her socials, on Twitch, and you can catch her live doing some Just
Yeah.
Dance and Skyrim.
Well, I play a lot of Dark Souls and horror
There you
games.
go.
That's what you'll catch me doing these
horror
days.
games. You want a little jump scare?
Oh yeah, lots of jump scares. Lots of whiskey too.
There you go. Whiskey and
yeah.
horror games. That's where it's
Exactly.
at. Okay, well, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
yeah, thank everyone else for tuning in.
Goodbye.